Thanks, Caroline. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining today in the open day and sticking around for the on-campus part of things. As Caroline mentioned, I help with some of our course advisor team and help support the team and students as well in terms of enrolment advice. So today I'll go through some of our on-campus programs with you, the application process for all of the courses that we provide on campus, and some of the benefits as well to studying on campus. And then I'll help answer some questions that you might have towards the end as well. Okay. I'm based in Perth. So at our Perth campus at the moment, we offer the Bachelor of Science for full-time students as a 3-year bachelor degree. Perth will also be home to our master's and doctorate as well. Generally, we offer the four main streams, as you can see there: automation, which is sort of an up-and-coming industry in engineering, plus also the traditional engineering streams as well, such as electrical, mechanical, and civil as well. The postgrad programs feature the master's degree, so Master of Engineering, which is 2 years full-time, and then the doctorate degree, which is 3 years full-time for on-campus students. And again, the masters will feature the same four streams as well, so automation, electrical, mechanical, and civil as well. So these programs generally are available for domestic Australian students as well as international students, as they're all CRICOS approved as well, for those wanting to study abroad in Australia. So these are some snapshots of our Perth campus and some of our staff. So as you can see, we have quite an open space for students to sort of socialise together. Also the classrooms where they can collaborate with like their tutorials and their classes as well, and some networking events that might feature time to time with such as Engineers Australia pop in sometimes as well to speak to our students. And as you can see, we have student services available on campus as well, which I'll go through in a bit more detail. But yeah, it seems as though with the Perth campus there, we are quite close to the city, so it's about 15 minutes or so, so good location. The Melbourne campus at the moment is in the city. It features our postgraduate programs, as I mentioned earlier. You'll see that some admin staff are available there as well. Classrooms are available there, and as you can see, some of the lab equipment are available there as well. And generally, we might have some guest networking events feature on campus as well. Skip through here. So with our on-campus programs, we do offer partial scholarships as well for each student that might meet the requirements academically for some of the scholarships. Generally, students should apply together when applying for their course application, although you can apply separately as well if you're not too set on a scholarship but want to lodge your application in on time. There's a link there which we'll provide to you. It will feature all of our scholarships that students can apply for. They range from about 10 to 35% for our on-campus scholarships, plus there's also separate doctorate scholarships as well that students can apply for. And generally, students will be paying for their fees at the beginning of each semester as well. So for their teaching period, they'll see the units that they'll study and they'll make a payment for those semester fees. So it's quite simple in terms of fees and payment options for on-campus students as well. Cool. This is very similar structure to what Nat presented earlier with our online courses that we offer. So for our undergraduate programs, the Bachelor of Science, specifically 3 years full-time is what students will be studying them at. Generally, students would start off with core engineering units to help transition them into studying, so such as engineering maths units or foundational engineering units to start with. That will give them a good foundation to then progress into the end of their first year, second and third year, in terms of their stream units that they select. So they'll either be studying mechanical or civil or electrical, depending on what their background is. And yeah, they'll be studying 3 years full-time on campus in Perth for the undergraduate courses. With our postgraduate courses, so offered in Perth and Melbourne, Students would study for 2 years full-time, and generally there'd be 13 units, a similar structure to the online programs as well. This will also include their thesis unit as well in their very last semester. It will also include some workshop units and integrated learning experience units as well, which I'll go through in a bit more detail as well. And then the doctorate as well is offered very similarly to the online program, 3 years full-time. It is part coursework, part research as well. In terms of its application process, it is a little bit different to the bachelor's master's when applying for it, simply because there's an added element to applying. You'll need to submit your thesis proposal along with a statement as to why you're looking to study the program as well. So generally, assessments will be generally assessed through admissions, our admissions team, but with the doctorate, it'll be admissions and our academics as well together. In some cases as well for our bachelors and masters, if you don't come from a relevant background or congruent background, we also might include our academics in the final decision as well, which I'll go through a bit later in the how to apply for our courses section. A big part of our on-campus programs is that we provide a blended learning environment for students. So this will involve our physical classes, physical spaces to build that sort of student community, as well as the engineering classrooms to do your technical units as well. We'll also make use of our online tutorials and online software for students to use as well for each of their units. Practicals will also be delivered on campus in the space either in Perth or Melbourne. Our programs are very industry related, very industry linked. The units are very relevant to what's required in the workplace for today. Generally, students will also have the opportunity for site visits and networking events and unpaid internships to help build upon their theoretical learning and practical learning to apply that into the real world and real companies, real engineering companies as well, to add to their CV. We also have what's very important to us, as Jason had mentioned earlier, is our student focus and student support and nurturing of our students. So our learning support officers and student services management, admin support staff are very much focused on our student well-being and academic performance as well. So we provide that personal touch as well with not only the online programs, but the on-campus programs as well. So when you are on campus, you will tend to see a few of the staff pop around, being in their offices or outside having lunch. So they're very approachable. It might not be a question that's related to your coursework. It might just be about your personal life or personal well-being that you might want to approach them with. So yeah, they're very, very much approachable and yeah, very much student focused. And as I mentioned a bit earlier, the opportunity for work integrated learning, that's a part of our bachelor's and master's programs. It offers students up to 6 weeks or 240 hours of integrated learning, which can be, it can be a site visit to an engineering company or plant. It can be networking events. It can also be like site visits and things as well, or an unpaid internship opportunity. This will help you gain local Australian experience with Australian engineering companies as well, and help you add to your CV as well when looking for job opportunities after graduating as well. So that's a big part of our degree. It doesn't affect the course duration of the program. So for example, your bachelor's will still be 3 years full time. It's within the program. And it doesn't affect the course costs. So the tuition fees that you pay for your on-campus studies will be covered with the work integrated learning aspect as well. There are certain requirements that you must meet to fulfill to be eligible for work integrated learning. We do have a work integrated learning coordinator and course coordinators and academics to help you with this progression as well when on campus. Okay, With the application process, as I mentioned a bit earlier, we generally assess applications through our admissions team. Generally, you may speak with a course advisor first. Course advisors will help you give sort of enrollment advice, direct you into how you should apply, what documents you may need, sort of what to expect when on the course as well. Such as like orientation or start week when on the course, or maybe assessment types, or receiving credit for prior learning as well. We can provide advice on that. But generally, for all of our on-campus programs, students should provide us with documents to support your application. So academic transcripts to begin with, and a certificate copy as well. Your English language proficiency test if you're an international student wanting to study on campus. Your resume, just highlighting relevant work experience that you've attained, or previous qualifications you might want to list as well. And just a photo ID copy, so a passport copy would be required. And generally, once you lodge your application, you can lodge this application on your own, or you can lodge your application with support through one of our registered education partners as well, who we train on a regular basis about our courses, and they help students with advice on studying abroad as well. So they'll be able to help you lodge the application as well on your behalf. Otherwise, if you are comfortable, you can apply direct yourself as well. And then, yeah, once the application is lodged, it will be assessed by our admissions department. And generally, we look to a turnaround of 2 to 3 working days to hear back from us as well. And then send a conditional offer if you are an on-campus international student applicant. And then just to note as well, we do look at each application individually on its own merit on a case-by-case basis. So if you feel that you may not meet one of the requirements, perhaps just shy of perhaps a maths mark, we would still look at your application individually, and then either recommend alternatives or pathways if you're not successful, or let you know that you are successful with an application as well. So we do encourage applications. If it's not so straightforward, we can assess them with support of some of our academics as well.